All right, today we're breaking down the playbook for radical delegation. This is the system that the world's highest achievers use to, well, literally multiply their time.
So think about it. How do you run a massive company, make investments, and still have a family life? This is the fundamental problem for anyone who's ambitious. You can always raise more money. You can always close another deal, but you can't just create another decade. So how do you scale yourself when time is the one thing you can't make more of?
Well, here's the blunt answer from Jonathan Swanson, the founder of Thumbtack and Athena. He says, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. This one idea right here is the key to unlocking everything we're about to talk about.
So, what's this big secret that used to be only for the super elite? It all kicks off with a simple observation from, of all places, the White House.
Swanson's whole journey with delegation really started when he was working in the West Wing. He saw the president's executive assistants, or EAs, in action and was just blown away. Their effectiveness set this incredibly high bar for what a partnership with an EA could actually look like. He started thinking, man, what could I accomplish with that kind of support?
Now, what's truly a game changer here is how this top-tier level of support has become available to, well, pretty much everyone. The old barriers to entry, they've completely crumbled.
I mean, think about this. Just a couple of decades ago, if you wanted a team of assistants like a top venture capitalist, you were looking at a cost of $500,000 a year. That's insane. It was a tool exclusively for the absolute wealthiest executives.
But today, that same caliber of leverage is now accessible for around $3,000 a month thanks to services like Athena. The game has totally, fundamentally changed. It's put world-class support within reach for so many more people.
And this brings us to the core insight, which is so important. Delegation isn't just about getting annoying tasks off your plate. What happens is, as people get more leverage, their ambition actually grows. When you're not bogged down with filling out DMV forms or renewing your passport, you naturally start to raise your sights to bigger and better things.
Okay, but even with this new access, there's this huge mental block, this psychological hurdle that stops most people from actually using this superpower effectively.
And here it is. This is the number one blocker. It's the belief that, it'll just be faster or better if I do it myself. And the reason this is such a sneaky trap is because for the very first time you delegate something, it's probably true. It will likely be faster to just do it yourself that one time.
But that short-term thinking costs you all the long-term leverage. You have to push through that initial friction, that activation energy of teaching someone. Yeah, it takes more effort up front, but it is the only way to truly buy back and multiply your time down the road.
The second big mistake people make is switching assistants every year or so. The real magic, the secret sauce, comes from compounding that relationship. Swanson has worked with his main assistant, Marnay, for over a decade. She knows everything about him. That creates this incredible depth of trust and context, which just allows for more and more leverage over time.
Okay, so you've gotten over the mental blocks. How do you actually delegate like a pro? The key is to completely shift your mindset about what it is you're handing off.
So here's the critical difference. Entry-level delegation is just handing off a task. It sounds like, hey, help me plan this dinner party. You'll rarely get what you actually want that way. The advanced method is to delegate the entire decision-making process, the actual algorithm that lives inside your head.
So how do you do that? You export your preferences. For that dinner party, you might say, I like 6 to 8 people, and they should have all raised a similar amount of capital. You literally write out a standard operating procedure, an SOP, for how to find the right people. Then you get feedback, you refine it, and from then on, it's just rinse and repeat. Now, tactically, the best delegators use their voice. Makes sense, right? You can speak 2 to 3 times faster than you can type. The pros will literally walk between meetings and just dictate voice memos into their phone. Okay, here are the takeaways. Pre-draft these 5 emails. Follow up with this person. By the time they get to their next meeting, all that work is already being done.
So how does this scale up? Well, you can think of it as a ladder, with different rungs of support that become available at different budget levels. And the cool thing is, you can start today. For $20 a month, you can start learning the skill of delegation just by prompt engineering with ChatGPT. Once you've got the budget, you can hire a great remote EA for about $3,000 a month. The next step up from there is a 6-figure in-person EA. And then, at the very highest level, you're building out a full suite with a chief of staff. Finally, let's look ahead. Where is all of this going? The future of delegation, you guessed it, is a seamless merger of human and artificial intelligence. I think the best way to think about it is like a self-driving car. it doesn't just become fully autonomous overnight. First, you get assisted steering, then adaptive cruise control, and over time, it takes on more and more responsibility. The exact same thing is happening with assistants. The machine will handle more of the routine stuff, which frees up the human for higher-level project management and true partnership.
The ultimate vision here is pretty wild. Imagine a system that's just watching your screen as you work, and it identifies things that you should be delegating, and then automatically adds them to your assistant's to-do list for you. The goal is machine-generated delegation, where tasks get pulled right off your plate without you even having to ask.
Which really brings us to the final and most crucial question. If time is your most valuable asset, and it is, then learning to delegate is the highest leverage skill you can possibly build. It compounds, it frees you up, it lets you be more ambitious. So what are you still doing yourself that's holding you back?